Hello everyone and welcome to Webcam Wrestling. Today I am fresh off of TLC 2018 and I'm here to review it for your pleasure and for your whatever you gain out of these videos. Okay, let's do this. So TLC 2018, I did not actually know all that much I didn't know what to expect with this pay-per-view because this pay-per-view features a almost overly stacked card. You know, which is nice because sometimes you're like, oh, such and such wrestler didn't even make it onto the pay-per-view. Sasha and Bailey still aren't here. Even with fucking 15, 12 matches or whatever they have. So as long as it all makes sense, it's not like but at the same time, you don't want a bunch of squash matches. So I didn't know what to expect. I was like, this pay-per-view could be good. Like, some of these matches, like, could be good. Not a lot of storylines I'm like super gun ho about. You know, the past couple Raws have been terrible, as even WWE has admitted. The past couple SmackDowns have been kind of fillery, with a couple like rap battles and some other interesting spots here and there. Other than that, though, it's not like prime wrestling content. So that's how I went into this pay-per-view, which, by the way, I did not watch the pre-show. I have to work to make money for a living, so that's not an option for me. So sorry WWE, but Buddy Murphy continues to be Cruiserweight champion, and Elias defeated Bobby Lashley in a ladder match. Yeah, sure. But I'm pretty sure Lashley beat him up afterward because as I was like skimming through, I just saw Lashley hold a guitar up in the air like that or something like that. I don't know what I saw. After that, the show actually starts and we have the most amazing kickoff match I've ever seen, which features the incredibly strong R-Truth and his promo master of dance, Carmella, and they take on Alicia Fox and Jinder Mahal. And the winners of this match are the number 30 spot in the Royal Rumble, which is really the only story to be taken out of this, other than, you know, if you want to count the Facebook thing as a story, the Mixed Match Challenges story, yeah, you can. But, yeah, this match is half a comedic match. You know, I do like Jinder, like, now that he's not the main champion. Like, he is an okay, I like where he's at. He's doing his thing. I like the, why am I forgetting their names? The Singh brothers, because they have a dance break in this match, which that joke is getting pretty old. It wasn't even really that funny the first time, but they have one during this match, and this is the first time I've seen, oh, the bad guys are getting in on it. So that was an interesting twist. I like that. But the match goes about as you would expect. R-Truth wins due to Alicia Fox taking the L. But that's about it, really. Their paid vacation is to WWE headquarters in Connecticut. I didn't. It was weird. It was like they didn't have any funny choice for them available, and it had to be a funny choice because all the other teams got injured. So it was like, okay, yeah, sure, we'll have that. They go to Connecticut, and it'll be funny. R-Truth, I still don't believe is going to be the number 30 spot. I believe he's just going to get, like, taken out or something. So it's going to be a surprise. Which makes it kind of weird that your only story tangent and the whole reason for doing this is just going to be snubbed out later. It's just classic WWE. But it's a whatever filler match. Not too upset about it. After that, we got the Bar taking on the New Day, taking on the Usos. Each of these teams has had the belt enough times to where if they did win the belt again, I wouldn't care. It's like when Ziggler wins the Intercontinental belt for like the 6th time. It's like, all right, I'm good for you, man. And it's okay if it's like a really cool storyline, a really cool lead, but it wasn't. This was a very, again, filler. I'm kind of sick of the New Day's rivalries too because they don't take them seriously. When they do, like the last time they had a serious rivalry was with the Usos, and I believe Hell in a Cell last year, and that was great. But they just went back to doing their thing a week later. It wasn't anything special. So with this match, obviously I was rooting for the boys, Cesaro and Sheamus to win, simply just because pad out their title reign, give them some other person to fight. Because this, like, if the New Day won, it's like, okay, it's New Day again. Usos win. It's the Usos again. And I don't know anyone who they're going to challenge other than Sanity, but they seem to be holding off on Sanity. And that's it. That's our tag division on SmackDown, unless they want to get some jobbers in there. Anyway, after that we got Braun Strowman versus Baron Corbin in this match. The big gimmick is that Braun Strowman is injured. He actually did have elbow surgery, so it's kayfabe, not kayfabe breaking, but it's like actual wonder if he's going to be able to compete. And the answer was no, he was not able to compete. But they worked around it because this is actually the most story for any match, and it turned out to be kind of like the worst match somehow. So what happens is everyone that Baron Corbin is GM pissed off comes out. They all start whacking him with chairs. So the first person we see is Apollo Cruz. So we're like, oh yay, Apollo Cruz is here to help Braun Strowman. And it's not even a TLC match. I assume that's why they had one on Raw. It's not even a fucking TLC match. What they do is literally they pin him. They pin him in a TLC match, and then later in the evening, they have normal TLC stipulations where you grab the belt from a ladder. I hate WWE so much. Yeah, that's all it was. Baron Corbin is no longer GM, and Braun Strowman has his match. And we're all cool as cucumbers. It was a, I guess if this was like a stacked, really nice show, I wouldn't mind this as much. But considering that we had hours of television to lead up to this, and it really didn't really get any impact. Like Braun Strowman being like, "Oh, I can get help in a TLC match," even though technically you could. Where the fuck are Elias, Drew? Like, where's your entire faction that you just built? Whatever. It's whatever match. After that, we get Natalya versus Ruby Riott. Shout out to Liv Morgan for taking one of the best table bumps I've seen probably ever. Other than that, this match is, yeah, it's not a bad match. I actually really like the Riot Squad. Like, for three people who at first were like a clusterfuck, they actually became a team. They actually feel like, oh yeah, they can take on Ronda Rousey like together, even though none of them are going to win the belt. But I would be perfectly happy with any of them taking a belt home because I like all of their characters. I love Liv Morgan. I love Ruby Riott. Sarah Logan, it was probably my least favorite, but I still really like her. I would still be happy to see her in a title feud. I like their outfits. I like their fighting styles. I like their kind of like mean girl tenacity. I like everything about them. And they've yet to get that real push. The last time they had a match was when Ruby had a SmackDown title shot against Charlotte, and she just lost. So this match was kind of giving them something to do. I like that. Natalya was really pressured in this feud due to the fact that they're taking a jab at her very recently deceased father. You know, that might ruffle the jimmies of the PC culture out there. But whatever. WWE still don't give a fuck. And Natalya apparently doesn't mind, so I don't care. From the way she described it, was like, she was like, my dad would look at this as if I had another feud even after I died and still would be happy about it. And when I looked at it like that way, I was like, okay, I can see how you'd be cool with it. What happens is after the other Riot girls get eliminated, it's just Ruby and Natalya. That was an interesting way, by the way, to have table bumps before the actual table bump, because during table matches, the entire match you're just waiting for table bumps, and it's like you get one table bump. That's it, and people just do that on Raw all the time. So it doesn't feel all that cool. There's table bunches later. Well, I guess it's a TLC match, so it does make sense. Point was, I thought that was a cool way, and the way they have some other cool spots where the table smacks. I think Natty, and like she like pushes it and it like smacks her in the head. That's a cool bump. There was a moment where like the table wasn't setting up properly. That was interesting. How they like adapted to that. But it ends with Ruby Riott thinking a Hurricane Rana on the top rope is the smartest way to put your opponent through the table, and Natalya shows her the very obvious rule of no. That's how you get power bombed. And that's how it ends. Natty doesn't really have a big grappling move that she can use, so it's like the same thing with Alexa Bliss. Just go for a power bomb. And yeah, that's our match. And she had a table with rubies cut out on it because I guess they didn't have anything else to put on it, but it was just kind of cheesy. Like, okay, why would you? Okay, whatever. Not a bad filler match, you know. I enjoyed it for what it was. After that, we got Finn Balor versus Drew McIntyre, another feud that I just really don't care about. Finn does not look like he's having a good time. He looks like he's just in the motions. He looks like Sasha Banks whenever she's not fighting for the belt. And in this match, he does win. He wins. And if you're going to have Finn win and take this momentum off of Drew just a teensy little bit, why not have Demon Finn come out? Like, are we just going to forget about Demon Finn whenever it's convenient? Like, why? Why can't we just have this motherfucker do this and win all the pay-per-view matches, give him that momentum, push him to the moon and back? I'm ready for Finn to have a title again. It's like it's like before Becky had the belt. It's like you just feel that weight in the back of their mind of, God, how long has it been? How far down can I slide down the card? Looking like Rey Mysterio on a chair outside the ring, kind of falling. Speaking of which, Rey Mysterio and Randy Orton had a match. Another rivalry that, like, the same thing with Drew and Finn. It's like the pieces are there. The build just isn't. It's just shitty Raws, shitty SmackDowns. This one, however, everything Randy is doing, I love. The whole thing with Jeff Hardy, where he's trying to like destroy the heroes of this industry because he's so sick of the industry because the industry did him wrong. That is a cool ass idea. And it makes sense for him to feud with Ray because Ray is like the perfect image for that. Ray, however, is kind of like how I was talking about Finn Balor, talking about Sasha Banks, just in the motions, you know, just coming to work. That being said, he does a lot of cool spots in this match, and he actually pulls the W after he was just losing too much. And this is his first, I think, big pay-per-view win since he came back. So the fact that he was able to roll him up, it's weird that we're even like, oh my God, he rolled him up and got the win. What a shock. That's surprising that we're talking about Rey Mysterio in that way after a big hiatus and coming back. But that seems to be WWE nowadays. Like, there will be like one or two cool returns from their A-listers, but everyone else, if you 15 years ago, get in the back of the fucking line. But a pretty cool match. It was a chairs match. The ending was actually a pretty cool finish. The way like Ray smacked him, sat him down, Hurricane Rana roll up. That was actually really cool. The fact that Randy tried to do his infamous RKO onto the chairs, callback to, well, he's done that move plenty of times, but the one I always remember is when he did it to John Cena and the chair just went. Anyway, I think one time he did it with Cena too, where it like just bounced off and chair just did its own thing. Unpredictable ass chairs. Anyway, after that we have 3 more matches. One of these matches should have been earlier on because I was waiting for these 3 matches, and literally it was just weighing down on me every match. I was like, oh god, another one. Oh god, another one. And we got first off we got the WWE Title Match, which we all knew wasn't going to be on last, between Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles. I really like what Daniel's doing. This heel turn that kind of came out of nowhere. This is not a bad turn for it. It's like, I feel like it's just a lot of Daniel's ideas that he's had to be a heel, and not really having the ample, like, rival for that. Not having, like, a good bounce board for all these ideas he's having. Like, it kind of just seems like, oh, Daniel Bryan turned crazy out of nowhere, and then AJ Styles is kind of doing his regular thing. And that's what this feud is. But the match isn't that bad. I don't know if I've done it a lot on this channel, but a lot of the people who I talk wrestling with, I've kind of been shitting on AJ Styles just because his character is that he's a phenomenal wrestler. And then a lot of his matches, even the big pay-per-view matches, let's call back to the Shinsuke matches, call back to all the Samoa Joe matches. These matches kind of fucking suck. And I'm really not invested with his, like, I like his attire. I like the idea of him. But his promos kind of suck. His matches have kind of sucked. And this match kind of felt same vibe. It felt a couple of, like, the spots where Daniel's doing flips from clotheslines and little things like that. I was like, why the fuck is Daniel Bryan, the guy with a broken fucking neck half the time, why is he taking all the fucking bumps, AJ? But it's whatever. This match, pretty good. Daniel won clean. That was a nice surprise. So, it makes him look strong, which he should look strong. Like, it makes sense for him to, like, you don't just become a chicken shit heel just because. You still should be a strong wrestler, and that's what went down. I don't know where AJ is going to go from here. SmackDown is 2 hours long, but it looks like just a barren wasteland half the time. And yet there's still like half a dozen people who deserve title shots somehow. Like, there's a bunch of Rusevs and shit. It's a weird fucking place over there on SmackDown. All of the divisions feel underused, and it's weird. Like, a couple months ago, there was like 100 guys who needed title shots, and all we had was Brock Lesnar. But now that Brock Lesnar is potentially gone out of the picture, at least for a little while, now we don't have as many guys. It's interesting. And that's kind of how I feel like Drew McIntyre and a couple other guys are going to get these title shots, is because don't got a whole lot else going on. And we're burying all our other potential candidates. Then we got Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins. This rivalry isn't that bad. You know, obviously hot off of a Roman leukemia plot thread. And they kind of just pull their promos, like, the ideas have been weird. The whole Bane thing that Dean Ambrose is doing isn't that bad. Like, he's wearing a chain as he fights now. It's not a bad look for him. Like, it was just kind of out of nowhere. All of a sudden, he is, like, and they're not using the mask. So I'm just wondering why all that shit happened. And I guess it's just Vince McMahon's a weird writer. So a lot of this match was kind of like some rest holds, Dean Ambrose talking trash on the offensive, and then Rollins, is kind of like fighting, like, scrappily. Like, it's weird seeing, like, a face Dean and heel Seth, and how it's been flipped like a year or two later, or I guess like a good amount of years later. And it's actually a really fucking interesting match. I like heel Dean. I like face Seth. I would I would have been fine with Seth keeping the title. Would have been happy with Dean taking the title, and that's what happens. Which it gives Dean a lot of momentum, and I feel like they're probably just gonna have a rematch at Royal Rumble, and I do want Dean to win that. So I don't know. I think it filled out the criteria of what I expected. Not a bad match. I think it could have had a gimmick. I think this should have been the tables match, or not the tables match, the ladder match. Like just seeing Dean like punch down Rollins or something, and take his title would have been a little bit more satisfactory. But he wins, not in like a super dirty way anyway. I mean, one with the dirty deeds, but you know what I mean. So, applaud to this match. Applaud. It did get a "this is boring" chant, but this crowd was burnt out. This crowd was fucking burnt out, as was I. Like, I was just in my chair, just sleeping. Like, and I was watching this an hour after it started from work. So I was feeling it. And I was gonna stay up and like work and write and do these things, but the second I hit the bed, I was like, no, I'm staying here. I'm staying here. Anyway, the finale: Asuka versus Charlotte Flair, which I guess we say Charlotte Flair now, not just Charlotte. I guess she's okay with that. Versus Becky Lynch. This is a dope match. This is one of the best matches I've seen all year. It's another Becky match that is one of my favorites all year as well. It's weird. It's almost like having uh, this fire under you and having like expectations suddenly makes you a good wrestler. Maybe if we had good storylines, we'd be better wrestlers. We'd actually have desire to fucking not burn this company to the ground with our bad wrestling matches. But anyway, after that, rambling aside, I kind of knew Asuka would win this match because I think the plan is a little bit obvious to have Becky win the Royal Rumble and fight Asuka, or fight Ronda Rousey. And I really like that idea. I really want to see Becky win the Royal Rumble. And I really want to see Asuka win the SmackDown belt, even if it is like half a year too late. It's almost a full year too late. The problem with that is I hate to see Becky lose that belt. But damn, was there some spots in this? There was so many spots. Asuka, I think, charged. Oh no, it's Charlotte charging Asuka into the barricade. And it's one of those times, because women, like, they don't have the weight of the guys, so, like, sometimes they have spots where the table doesn't break. And this is one time where the barricade didn't break, but it looked more vicious because of that. It's probably the one time. And then, like, Charlotte and her gigantic fucking boobs now were, like, right in Asuka's face for a second, and I was like, the whole room was doing the same thing as me. They were just like, okay. But after that, there's a big spot where Becky does a leg drop onto Charlotte and Asuka at the same time, but Asuka gets up, so like Becky jumps in a way that she'll hit both of them, but all she does is she only lands on Charlotte, and it's not just like an easy land, it's like ass to midsection from like the top of a ladder, and the table like takes a second to break, so you feel it all the more. And then you can literally hear Charlotte. I think she said, oh God, like, oh fuck. And I think they bleeped her out, which Seth Rollins was calling Dean a piece of shit like 3 times in his match, and they had to bleep him out. A lot of cursing in this pay-per-view. What were some of the other spots? They didn't do a whole lot like in the ring, like off of the ladder. Just a lot of kendo stick shots. Like the kendo stick was all over this match. Like everyone was getting beat up by it. The finish I'm not super happy about. So they had 2 ladders. Charlotte and Becky are on this one. Asuka is like at the feet of this one. And she's not like outside the ring. Like put her somewhere. Just don't have her right there. Have her like climb the ladder after the fact. Or let her. Here's how I would have done. I would have done the same thing with Charlotte and Becky. Um, and then Ronda Rousey comes out. But when she tips over the ladder, have Becky go like through a table on the outside or something. Go Undertaker Edge one night stand. And then Charlotte, who's just at the bottom, she can like try to climb the ladder, and then Asuka can cut her ass down, and then that way Asuka and Charlotte can have a feud. I feel like that's an obvious feud, but now it feels like they're doing a triple threat for the title at WrestleMania, which wouldn't be a bad idea, but at the same time, like a triple threat for the main event, and like, oh, we gotta squeeze Charlotte in there. Just have Becky and Ronda, man. I thought this was kind of like the obvious booking choice to have Ronda do this. It makes sense. I just don't want Charlotte and Ronda. I don't want Charlotte a part of that match, so that's why I'm trying to book it a little bit differently. And it would have made Asuka. Yeah, Asuka would have cut Charlotte down, which would have made Asuka actually look strong instead of just taking the W via Ronda Rousey. And she was very awkward by standing at the bottom or waiting at the bottom of the ladder like that. And then when she did get the belt, she was on top of that ladder forever. She did not come down from that ladder. She was just up there, and you can't really be excited and jump around when you're on top of a ladder. So it was just kind of like, I did it, like. But bravo, Asuka taking the belt finally. Even if it is way too late, and I'm glad because people are saying she got thrown into this match because well, it makes sense if they're doing this whole Royal Rumble plan, but if they really didn't know who the third like most popular person in this division is, Vince McMahon is. It's very obvious he's out of touch, but he is just. He is on a galactic moon, and the Earth is like a billion miles away, and he's like still trying to make wrestling matches, trying to stay in touch. That is my thoughts on TLC. Overall, it wasn't a good pay-per-view. I'm going to be honest. It weighed down, but I think that's not because of the wrestlers or the matches. That is because I didn't give a shit about any of these matches because all the feuds have been terrible because the past couple Raws have been terrible. They pulled a couple surprises, but there was 2 title changes. That's pretty cool. Other than that, though, didn't really give a shit. There was that one match, though, saved it from being like a bad pay-per-view or anything. Daniel and AJ were fine. So overall, I'd give it like a C or a D+. I don't do ratings like that. Like a 7, 6 out of 10. I don't know. Anyway, that is my thoughts on TLC 2018. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below. Thank you for watching Webcam Wrestling. And again, this was a pretty good pay-per-view, but I'm excited for the fucking Royal Rumble, which is pretty much my favorite pay-per-view. Anyway, thank you again, and until next time, with that, I leave you.